Captain Jake Morrison stood on the bridge of the USS Horizon and watched the stars through the main window. His ship had been exploring space for 3 months now. The crew was getting tired, but they had found some interesting things. New planets, strange rocks floating in space, and signals from faraway places. "Captain, we are getting something weird on the sensors," said Lisa Parker. She was the science officer and the smartest person on the ship. Her fingers moved fast over the computer buttons. Jake walked over to her station. "What kind of weird?" "Big ships. Really big ships. They are coming toward our space from the outside." Lisa looked worried. "Captain, these ships are huge, much bigger than anything we have ever made." Tony Rodriguez looked up from his engineering station. "How big are we talking about?" Lisa checked her numbers again. "The smallest one is about 50 times bigger than our ship. The biggest one is so big that our computers cannot measure it properly." Jake felt his stomach drop. "How many ships?" "Over 300 that I can count. Maybe more. They are still too far away to get a good reading." Lisa turned to look at Jake. "Captain, they are heading straight for Earth." Amy Stevens, who handled all the radio calls, suddenly spoke up. "Captain, I am getting a message. It is coming from those ships." "Put it on the main speakers," Jake said. A voice filled the bridge. It did not sound human. It was cold and mechanical. "Attention, primitive species. You will surrender all your worlds to the HFY Dominion. You have 72 hours to remove your people from all planets and space stations. After that time, we will destroy everything. Resistance is pointless. Your technology is weak. Your ships are toys. Submit or die." The message ended. The bridge was quiet for a long moment. "Well, that was friendly," Tony said, trying to make a joke, but nobody laughed. Jake walked back to his captain's chair. His mind was racing. "Lisa, how long until they reach Earth?" "At their current speed, about 6 days." "Amy, send a message to Earth Command right now. Tell them everything. Use the emergency channel." "Yes, Captain." Jake looked at his crew. These people had been with him for 2 years. They were good people, smart people, but they were about to face something that no human had ever faced before. "Tony, what can you tell me about our weapons?" Tony shook his head. "Captain, our weapons are made for fighting pirates and small alien ships. Against something that big? It would be like throwing rocks at a mountain." Lisa was still working at her station. "Captain, I am picking up more information about their ships. They have energy shields that are stronger than our best weapons. Their smallest guns could destroy our ship with one shot." Jake sat down in his chair. He had been a ship captain for 15 years. He had fought pirates, survived storms in space, and saved his crew from many dangerous situations. But this was different. This was impossible. "Amy, any word from Earth Command?" "Yes, Captain. Admiral Blake wants to talk to you right away." The main screen changed to show Admiral Susan Blake. She was sitting in the command center on Earth. Behind her, Jake could see dozens of people running around, talking fast and looking scared. "Captain Morrison, we got your message. How sure are you about these numbers?" "Very sure, Admiral. Lisa Parker is the best science officer in the fleet. If she says there are 300 ships, then there are 300 ships." Admiral Blake looked older than Jake remembered. "Captain, we are calling back every ship we have, every military vessel, every exploration ship, every transport. We need everything." "Admiral, with respect, it will not be enough. These ships are too big and too strong." "I know that, Captain, but we have to try something. We cannot just give up." Jake nodded. "What are your orders, Admiral?" "Get back to Earth as fast as you can. We are going to need every ship and every good captain." Admiral Blake paused. "Jake, I will not lie to you. This looks bad, really bad, but humans have survived worse things before." "Have we, Admiral? Have we ever faced anything like this?" Admiral Blake was quiet for a moment. "No, Captain, we have not. But that does not mean we give up. Get your ship home. We have work to do." The screen went dark. Jake looked at his crew. They were all looking at him, waiting for orders. "You heard the Admiral. Tony, push the engines as hard as you can. Lisa, keep watching those alien ships. Amy, monitor all radio channels. I want to know everything that is happening." "Yes, Captain," they all said. As the horizon turned toward Earth, Jake walked to the big window again. Somewhere out there, an alien fleet was coming to destroy everything humans had ever built. Their ships were bigger, their weapons were stronger, and their technology was centuries ahead of anything humans had. But Jake Morrison had learned something in his 15 years as a captain. Sometimes the biggest enemy was not the one with the most guns or the strongest shields. Sometimes the biggest enemy was the one who thought they could not lose. The aliens thought humans would just give up. They thought humans would run away or surrender without a fight. They thought humans were weak because their ships were small and their weapons were simple. Jake smiled for the first time since hearing that cold alien voice. "Lisa, how long did you say we have?" 72 hours until their deadline, Captain." "Good. That gives us time to show them exactly how wrong they are about humans." Tony looked up from his controls. "Captain, what are you thinking?" "I am thinking that these aliens have never met humans before. They do not know what we do when someone tells us we cannot win." Jake turned to face his crew. "They think this war is already over, but it has not even started yet." The horizon flew through space toward Earth, carrying news of humanity's greatest challenge. Behind them, the alien fleet continued its slow approach, confident in their victory. But they did not understand humans. They did not know that humans had a saying: "It is not the size of the dog in the fight. It is the size of the fight in the dog." They were about to learn what that meant. Admiral Susan Blake stood in the biggest meeting room on Earth. Around the long table sat the smartest people from every country: generals, scientists, engineers, and politicians. Everyone looked scared, but they were trying not to show it. "Let me be clear about what we are facing," Admiral Blake said. She pressed a button and pictures appeared on the wall screen. 300 alien ships. The smallest one could destroy our biggest battleship with one shot. They want us to surrender. In 60 hours. General Pete Collins from the Army spoke first. "Admiral, how many ships do we have?" 47 military ships total. Most of them are small patrol boats and transport ships. We have exactly 6 battleships. Dr. Marcus Wright, a thin man with messy hair, raised his hand. "What about civilian ships? Cargo haulers, mining ships, passenger liners?" "Why would civilian ships matter?" asked General Collins. "They have no weapons and no shields." Dr. Wright stood up and walked to the front of the room. "Because we are thinking about this all wrong. We are trying to fight them like this is a normal war. But this is not normal. We cannot win a normal war against them." "So what do you suggest, Doctor? That we just give up?" General Collins sounded angry. "No, I suggest we do something they will never expect. Something so crazy that their computers cannot predict it." Dr. Wright smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "We fight them like humans." Admiral Blake crossed her arms. "Explain that, Doctor." "These aliens have technology that is hundreds of years ahead of ours, but they also think like machines. Everything they do is logical, planned, and efficient. They probably studied our military and figured out exactly how we would fight." Dr. Wright walked around the table. "But what if we do not fight like a military? What if we fight like angry humans who refuse to lose?" Colonel Nancy Davis from the Air Force leaned forward. "Give us an example, Doctor." "Mining ships. They are built to smash through asteroids. What happens if we load them with explosives and ram them into alien ships at full speed?" Everyone stared at him. "That would be suicide," someone said. "Exactly. No logical species would ever do that, which means they will not be ready for it." Dr. Wright was getting excited now. "Cargo, ships loaded with nuclear bombs. Passenger liners converted into flying missiles. Every small boat, every yacht, every personal spacecraft turned into a weapon. General Collins shook his head. Doctor, that is insane. We would lose thousands of ships and millions of people. We are going to lose millions of people anyway if we do nothing, Dr. Wright shot back. At least this way, we take some of them with us. Admiral Blake was quiet for a long moment. Then she spoke. Doctor, you are talking about turning our entire civilian fleet into a suicide force. Not suicide, Admiral. Sacrifice. There is a difference. These people would be choosing to die so that others could live. Captain Jake Morrison had just arrived. On Earth. He walked into the meeting room, still wearing his spacesuit. Sorry I am late, Admiral. We pushed the engines harder than ever before. Captain Morrison. Perfect timing. Dr. Wright was just explaining his plan to turn civilian ships into weapons. Jake listened as Dr. Wright explained everything again. When the doctor finished, Jake was quiet for a minute. Doctor, there is one problem with your plan. You need people crazy enough to fly those ships. Do you think we can find people like that, Captain? Jake smiled. Doctor, you obviously do not know humans very well. Half the people I know would volunteer just to prove it could be done. A woman at the far end of the table stood up. She was Captain Rachel Stone, one of the best fighter pilots in the fleet. Captain Morrison is right. Give me a cargo ship and a nuclear bomb, and I will show those aliens what human stubbornness looks like. More people around the table started nodding. The idea was crazy, but it was the only idea they had. Admiral Blake held up her hand for quiet. Even if this works, even if we somehow hurt their fleet, they will still have enough ships to destroy Earth. Dr. Wright walked back to the front. That is where the second part of the plan comes in. We need to get inside their main ship. Their command ship. We need to plant a virus in their computers. A virus? Asked Colonel Davis. Kevin Chen, a young computer expert, spoke up. I have been studying the alien transmissions. Their computers are incredibly advanced, but they think in straight lines. They cannot handle chaos or random events. So we give, them chaos, Dr. Wright said. We create a virus that does not destroy their systems. Instead, it makes everything random. Their weapons fire at the wrong targets. Their shields turn on and off for no reason. Their navigation sends them in circles. Admiral Blake looked around the room. This plan requires us to get a small team onto an alien ship that is bigger than a city and probably has thousands of guards. Jake stepped forward. My ship can do it, Admiral. The horizon is small and fast. If we can get close enough during the battle, we might be able to sneak aboard. Captain, that is a suicide mission. Maybe. But everything we are planning is a suicide mission. The question is whether we die fighting or die on our knees. The room was quiet again. Finally, Admiral Blake spoke. All right, here is what we are going to do. Captain Stone, you will lead the civilian fleet conversion. Every ship that can fly gets turned into a weapon. Captain Morrison, you and your crew will handle the infiltration mission. Dr. Wright and Mr. Chen, you have 12 hours to create a virus that can confuse alien computers. She looked around the room one more time. People, I will not lie to you. This plan is insane. It goes against everything we know about military strategy. Most of us will probably die. General Collins spoke up. Then why are we doing it? Admiral Blake smiled for the first time since the aliens arrived. Because we are humans, and humans do not go quietly into the night. We kick and scream and fight until our last breath. These aliens think they know what defeat looks like. They are about to learn that they have never seen humans lose before. The meeting ended and people scattered in every direction. There was work to do and not much time to do it. Jake Morrison walked outside and looked up at the sky. Somewhere up there, alien ships were coming to destroy everything he had ever known. They thought humans would surrender because resistance was logical. They were about to learn that humans had never been particularly logical. Captain Rachel Stone sat in the pilot seat of what used to be a mining ship called the Iron Eagle. Now it was something else, something dangerous. The cargo hold was packed with every explosive they could find. Nuclear bombs, military missiles, and chemicals that would burn for hours. "Stone to all ships, sound off," she said into her radio. Voices came back from dozens of ships, cargo haulers, passenger liners, even a few luxury yachts owned by rich people who wanted to help. Each ship now carried enough explosives to level a city. "Remember the plan," Rachel said. "We hit them fast and we hit them hard. Pick your target and do not stop until you hit it. No fancy flying, no heroics. Just point your ship at the biggest alien you can find and push the engine to maximum." Her co-pilot was Gary Walsh, a cargo hauler who had volunteered for the mission. "Captain Stone, are you scared?" Rachel thought about it. "Yeah, Gary, I am terrified, but I am also angry. These aliens think we will just roll over and die. They think humans are weak because our technology is not as good as theirs. What do you think will happen to us? Honestly, we will probably all die in the next few hours. But we are going to make sure they remember us." On the other side of the solar system, the alien fleet moved toward Earth like a dark cloud. The ships were beautiful in a cold way. Smooth metal, surfaces covered with strange patterns that glowed with blue light. They moved in perfect formation, each ship exactly where it was supposed to be. Commander Zakhtar stood on the bridge of the main ship. He was tall and thin with gray skin and large black eyes. His people had conquered 47 different species. Humans would be number 48. "Report," Zakhtar said. "The human military fleet is moving to meet us," his officer replied. 47 small ships. They are arranging themselves in a standard defensive formation." Zakhtar was not impressed. 47 ships against 300. Do they think their bravery will save them? Perhaps they plan to surrender when they see our true power. "No," Zakhtar said. "I have studied their transmissions. These humans are too proud to surrender easily. We will have to destroy their fleet completely. Then they will understand." What Zakhtar did not know was that the 47 military ships were just the beginning. Hidden behind Earth's moon, Rachel Stone's civilian fleet waited for the signal. The battle started exactly as the aliens expected. Human military ships charged forward in neat lines. Their weapons fired at the alien shields and did almost nothing. One by one, the human ships were destroyed by the superior alien weapons. "As predicted," Zakhtar said. "Their military tactics are primitive. In 10 more minutes, their fleet will be gone." That was when Admiral Blake gave the signal. "All civilian ships, this is Admiral Blake. Execute Operation Chaos. Good luck to all of you." Rachel Stone smiled and pushed her engines to full power. "All right, people. Time to show these aliens what crazy looks like." The Iron Eagle shot out from behind the moon at maximum speed. Behind her came hundreds of other ships, cargo haulers, mining vessels, passenger liners, and even small personal spacecraft. None of them were flying in formation. None of them were following normal military tactics. They just charged straight at the alien fleet like angry wasps. "What is this?" Zakhtar demanded. "Where did all these ships come from?" "They appear to be civilian vessels, Commander, but they are carrying massive explosive payloads." Zakhtar watched in shock as the first mining ship smashed into one of his cruisers. The explosion was so big that it lit up space like a small sun. The alien ship was completely destroyed. Impossible. No logical species would sacrifice civilian ships in such a manner. More explosions followed. A cargo hauler loaded with nuclear bombs hit an alien battleship and took out half of its weapon systems. A luxury yacht packed with military missiles crashed into the bridge of another alien ship. The aliens tried to shoot down the attacking ships, but there were too many coming from too many directions. Their computers could not predict which ship would attack which target because the humans were not following any plan at all. Rachel Stone aimed the Iron Eagle at the biggest alien ship she could see. Gary Walsh was praying quietly next to her. 30 seconds to impact, she announced. The alien ship fired at them. The first shot missed. The second shot hit their left engine, but the Iron Eagle kept flying. 10 seconds, Rachel said. Gary, it has been an honor. Same here, Captain. The Iron Eagle hit the alien ship at full speed. The explosion was visible from Earth. But the civilian fleet was not the only surprise. While the aliens were confused by the suicide attacks, Captain Jake Morrison's ship, Horizon, was sneaking around the edge of the battle. Lisa, are you tracking? The alien command ship? Jake asked. Yes, Captain. It is the really big one in the center, the one that looks like a floating city. Tony, how are our stealth systems? Working perfectly, Captain. Their sensors cannot detect us while they are dealing with all those explosions. Jake watched as more civilian ships crashed into alien vessels. Each explosion meant good people were dying, but their sacrifice was working. The alien fleet was in chaos. Amy, are you ready with Kevin's virus? Amy Stevens held up a small device. Ready, Captain. As soon as we get inside their computer system, I can upload it. All right, people, this is it. We are going to fly into that ship and plant a virus that will hopefully confuse their entire fleet. If we get caught, we are all dead. If the virus does not work, we are all dead. If their security systems detect us, we are all dead. Tony laughed nervously. Captain, when you put it like that, it sounds almost easy. That is the spirit, Tony. Now let us go save humanity. The Horizon flew toward the massive alien command ship while explosions lit up the space around them. The battle was far from over, but for the first time since the aliens arrived, humans were not just fighting back, they were winning. The Horizon slipped through the massive opening in the alien command ship like a small fish swimming into a whale's mouth. Jake Morrison had never seen anything so big. The ship was like a floating city with corridors wide enough to fly aircraft through. Tony, cut the engines. We go silent from here, Jake whispered, even though no one outside could hear him. Lisa Parker studied her scanner. Captain, this ship is incredible. I am reading thousands of life forms. The technology signatures are off the charts. Any security systems? Yes, but they seem focused on external threats. I do not think they expected anyone to actually get inside. Amy Stevens was already working with her equipment. Captain, I found their computer network. It is huge, much bigger than anything on Earth. Kevin's virus should spread through the entire system once I plug it in. Jake looked at his crew. These 3 people had followed him into the most dangerous place in the galaxy. Listen, everyone. Once Amy uploads that virus, every alien on this ship will know we are here. We will have maybe 10 minutes to get back to our ship and escape. What if we cannot make it back? Tony asked. Then we do not make it back. But the virus will still work. The mission is more important than we are. They left the Horizon hidden in a storage bay and began moving through the alien ship. The corridors were strange. Everything was too tall and too wide for humans. The walls curved in ways that hurt to look at. Strange lights moved in patterns that made no sense. This place feels wrong, Tony muttered. Stay focused, Jake said. Lisa, which way to their main computer? Lisa checked her scanner again. Follow me. And stay quiet. I am reading life forms everywhere. They moved through the ship like ghosts, past rooms full of strange machines, past areas where aliens in silver suits worked on things humans could not understand, past windows that showed the battle still raging outside. Jake could see human ships still ramming into alien vessels. Each explosion meant more good people were dead. But their sacrifice was working. The alien fleet was no longer in perfect formation. Ships were scattered and confused. Here, Lisa whispered. This is it. They stood outside a room that hummed with energy. Through the transparent wall, they could see a computer system that filled an entire chamber. Streams of light moved through. Crystal formations. Data flowed like water through tubes made of metal and glass. How do we get in? Amy asked. Jake studied the door. It had no handle, no buttons, nothing that looked like human technology. Tony, can you cut through this? Tony pulled out his tools. Give me 5 minutes, Captain. While Tony worked, Jake watched the battle outside. The human fleet was getting smaller. For every alien ship they destroyed, humanity lost 10 ships. But the aliens were learning to fear the suicide attacks. Their perfect formations were breaking apart as ships tried to avoid the crazy humans. "Got it," Tony said. The door slid open with a soft sound. Amy rushed to the computer system. "This is amazing. Their technology is so advanced that I can barely understand it." But Kevin was right. Everything is logical, organized, predictable. She connected her device to what looked like the main data stream. "Uploading the virus now. This will take about 3 minutes." That was when the alarm started. Red lights flashed throughout the ship. A voice spoke in the alien language, harsh and angry. Jake did not need a translator to know what it meant. "They found us," Lisa said, checking her scanner. "Multiple life forms heading this way, a lot of them." "How long, Amy?" 2 more minutes." Jake pulled out his weapon. It was a simple human gun that would probably not hurt the aliens much, but it was all he had. "Tony, Lisa, get ready. We hold this position until Amy is done." The first aliens appeared at the door. They were tall and thin with gray skin and large black eyes. They carried weapons that glowed with blue energy. When they saw the humans, they made sounds of surprise. Jake fired first. His bullets hit the lead alien and knocked it down. The others fired back with energy weapons that burned holes in the walls. "1 more minute," Amy called out. More aliens appeared. Then more. The corridor outside was filling with silver-suited figures carrying glowing weapons. Tony's gun ran out of bullets. He picked up a piece of broken metal and threw it at an alien. "Captain, there are too many of them." Lisa was using her scanner as a weapon, hitting aliens over the head with it. "Jake, we cannot hold them much longer." 30 seconds, Amy said. The aliens pushed into the room. Jake was down to his last few bullets. Tony was fighting 3 aliens with his bare hands. Lisa was backing toward the computer system. "Done!" Amy shouted. "The virus is in their system." Immediately, strange things began happening. The lights in the room started flashing in random patterns. The alien weapons stopped working properly. Some of the computers began making weird noises. On his scanner, Jake could see the virus spreading through the entire ship. Then to other ships in the fleet. The aliens looked confused as their perfect technology began acting crazy. "Now we run," Jake said. They fought their way out of the computer room and back through the corridors. Behind them, more alarms were sounding. The ship itself seemed to be going crazy. Lights turned on and off for no reason. Doors opened and closed randomly. Even the artificial gravity was acting strange. "The virus is working," Amy laughed as they ran. Their computers do not know how to handle random events. Everything is going wrong at once. They reached the storage bay where the horizon was hidden. But as they ran toward their ship, more aliens appeared. These ones had working weapons. "Get to the ship," Jake ordered. "I will hold them off." "Captain." "No," Lisa said. "That is an order. Go!" Jake turned to face the aliens. He had 2 bullets left in his gun. There were at least 20 aliens with energy weapons. The math was not good. But as the aliens raised their weapons, something wonderful happened. The virus hit their targeting systems. Their weapons fired in random directions. Blue energy beams shot everywhere except at Jake. "Come on, Captain," Tony called from the horizon. "Even their guns are confused now." Jake ran to his ship as alien. Weapons fired wildly around him. None of the shots came close. The aliens' perfect technology was now completely unreliable. The horizon lifted off and flew toward the exit. Behind them, the massive alien ship was in chaos. Systems were failing throughout the vessel. The virus was spreading to every computer, every weapon, every control system. As they escaped into space, Jake could see the effect on the entire alien fleet. Ships were flying in circles. Weapons were firing at random targets. Some alien vessels were even shooting at each other by mistake. "Amy, how long will the virus last?" "It should keep spreading and getting worse. Their computers will try to fix the problems, but the virus will just create new random errors. The more they try to solve it, the worse it will get. Jake looked at the battle outside. The remaining human ships were still fighting, but now the aliens were fighting each other too. Perfect formations had turned into complete chaos. For the first time since the aliens arrived, Jake Morrison allowed himself to hope that humanity might actually survive. Commander Zaktar stood on his bridge and watched his perfect fleet fall apart. Ships that had conquered 47 worlds were now flying in circles. Weapons that could destroy planets were firing at empty space. His own command ship was shaking as systems failed one by one. "Report!" he demanded. His second officer, Velthar, was hitting buttons frantically. "Commander, all systems are experiencing random failures. Our computers are giving contradictory orders. Navigation is sending ships in wrong directions. Weapons are targeting our own vessels. How is this possible?" "Unknown, Commander. It appears to be some kind of virus in our computer networks, but our security systems should have prevented any such attack." Zaktar felt something he had never experienced before. Fear. His people had ruled the galaxy for thousands of years because their technology was perfect. Their computers never made mistakes. Their weapons never missed. Their ships never broke down. But now everything was going wrong at once. On the bridge of the horizon, Jake Morrison watched the alien fleet tear itself apart. Ships were colliding with each other. Weapons were exploding inside their own vessels. The perfect formation had become complete chaos. "Lisa, how widespread is the virus?" Lisa Parker was studying her scanners with amazement. "Captain, it has infected the entire fleet. Every ship, every system, every computer, and it is getting worse by the minute." "How much worse?" "Their computers are trying to fix the problems, but each fix creates 3 new random errors. It is like a disease that gets stronger every time they try to cure it." Tony Rodriguez laughed from his station. "Captain, look at that big ship over there. It just fired all its weapons at once in random directions. One of the shots hit their own engine." Jake felt a mix of joy and sadness. The plan was working, but so many good people had died to make it happen. Rachel Stone and her civilian fleet had sacrificed everything to create this chaos. "Amy, send a message to Earth Command. Tell them the virus is working. The alien fleet is disabled." But as Amy started to send the message, something unexpected happened. A new voice came over the alien communication channels. This voice was different. It sounded tired and sad instead of cold and threatening. "Human vessels, this is Commander Zaktar of the Kethvar fleet. I request permission to speak with your leaders." Jake looked at his crew. "That is new. Amy, patch me through to Admiral Blake and tell her about this." A few minutes later, Admiral Blake's face appeared on the screen. Behind her, Jake could see the command center on Earth. People were celebrating, but the Admiral looked worried. "Captain Morrison, excellent work with the virus. But what do you make of this alien commander wanting to talk?" "I do not know, Admiral. But maybe we should listen to what he has to say." Admiral Blake nodded. "Put him through." The main screen changed to show the alien commander. Zaktar looked different than Jake had expected. Instead of appearing angry or threatening, he seemed defeated and tired. "Humans," Zaktar began, "I must speak with your leadership. There are things you do not understand about this war." Admiral Blake stepped forward. "I am Admiral Blake, Commander of Earth's Defense Forces. Speak your piece, alien." "Admiral Blake, my fleet came here to conquer your world and enslave your people. This is what we have done to 47 other species. But you have done something impossible. You have defeated us using inferior technology and tactics that make no logical sense." "Your point?" Admiral Blake asked. Zaktar was quiet for a moment. "My people are dying, Admiral. Not from this battle, but from a disease that has plagued us for centuries. We conquer other worlds because we are searching for a cure. We have taken the knowledge and technology of 47 different species, but none of them could help us." Jake felt confused. "Commander, are you saying your people are refugees?" "In a sense, yes. We have perhaps 50 years before our species goes extinct. Conquering other worlds is the only way we know to survive. Dr. Marcus Wright appeared on the communication channel from Earth. Commander Zaktar, describe this disease that affects your people. Zaktar explained their condition. As he spoke, Dr. Wright's eyes grew wide with surprise. Admiral, Dr. Wright interrupted, I think I know what is wrong with them, and I think human medical knowledge might be able to help. Explain, Admiral Blake said. Based on his description, it sounds like a genetic condition that affects their immune system. We have similar diseases in humans, and we have developed treatments for them. Zaktar looked shocked. Your primitive medicine could help my people? Our medicine is not primitive, Dr. Wright replied firmly. It is different. We have had to develop treatments for many genetic diseases because human DNA is very diverse. Your people might have the opposite problem. Not enough genetic diversity. Jake listened to this conversation with growing amazement. The war that had started with threats of extinction was turning into something completely different. Admiral Blake spoke carefully. Commander Zaktar, are you suggesting that we work together to find a cure for your people? I do not know what I am suggesting, Admiral. This situation is beyond anything in our experience. We came here to conquer you, but you have shown us that conquest is not the only way to solve problems. On Earth, the command center was in chaos again, but this time it was good chaos. Scientists were talking excitedly about alien biology. Medical experts were pulling up research on genetic diseases. Diplomats were discussing the possibility of peace. General Pete Collins spoke up. Admiral, can we trust them? How do we know this is not just another trick? We do not, Admiral Blake admitted. But look at their fleet. Half their ships are disabled by our virus. The other half are fighting their own computer systems. They are not in a position to trick anyone right now. Jake Morrison made a decision. Admiral, request permission to dock with the alien command ship. If we are going to work together, someone needs to make the first move. Captain, that could be extremely dangerous. Admiral, everything we have done in the last 3 days has been extremely dangerous, but it worked. Admiral Blake thought for a moment. Permission granted, Captain, but take a full medical team with you. If we are going to help these aliens, we need to understand their biology. As the Horizon flew toward the massive alien ship, Jake thought about how strange the universe could be. Hours ago, he was fighting for humanity's survival. Now he was about to become humanity's first alien doctor. Tony, prepare for docking. Lisa, get ready to study alien biology. Amy, keep all channels open. Yes, Captain, they all replied. The war was not over yet, but for the first time it might end with healing instead of destruction. The Horizon docked with the alien command ship very carefully. Jake Morrison led a team that included Dr. Sarah Miller, the best human doctor available, and 2 other medical experts. They carried equipment to study alien biology and weapons, just in case this was still a trap. Commander Zaktar met them at the docking bay. Up close, he looked even more tired than he had on the communication screen. His gray skin had a sick color to it, and Jake could see that the alien was having trouble breathing. Captain Morrison, Zaktar said in careful English. Thank you for coming. I know this requires great trust. Commander, we are here to help if we can, but we need to understand your people's condition better. Zaktar led them through the ship to a medical bay. The room was huge and filled with strange equipment that hummed with energy. In beds along the walls lay dozens of aliens in various stages of sickness. Dr. Miller immediately went to work studying the patients. She used her portable scanners to examine their blood, their breathing, and their genetic structure. What she found surprised her. Captain, this is incredible. Their genetic code is almost perfect. Too perfect. What do you mean, Doctor? Humans have lots of variety in our genes. That is why we get many different diseases, but it is also why we can survive many different problems. These aliens have almost no genetic variety at all. They are all nearly identical. Zaktar listened carefully. Is this why we are dying? I think so, Dr. Miller said. Your immune systems are all exactly the same. When a new disease appears, none of your people can fight it because you all have the same weakness. She continued her examination. Humans developed genetic diversity over thousands of years. When diseases killed people with certain genes, the survivors had different genes that could resist the disease. Your people never had that process. Commander Zaktar looked confused. Are you saying that our perfection is killing us? In a way, yes. Perfect genetics only work if the environment never changes. But environments always change. New diseases appear, new problems develop. You need genetic variety to survive, Jake watched as Dr. Miller worked. Doctor, can we help them? Maybe. Human genetic research is very advanced because we have had to deal with so many genetic diseases. We might be able to introduce some genetic diversity into their population. How? Would that work? Dr. Miller was getting excited as she thought about the possibilities. We could use human genetic material to create treatments that give their immune systems more variety. Not enough to change what they are, but enough to help them fight diseases. Zaktar spoke up. Dr. Miller, you are suggesting that human genetics could save my people? It is possible, but it would require cooperation between our species. We would need to study your biology much more. You would need to trust us with your most important medical information. Commander Zaktar was quiet for a long time. Finally, he spoke. Captain Morrison, Dr. Miller, my people have spent centuries conquering others because we thought strength was the only way to survive. But you have shown us something different. What is that? Jake asked. That sometimes the weak can help. The strong. That sometimes cooperation works better than conquest. That sometimes the answer comes from the last place you would expect to look. Over the next few hours, more human doctors arrived from Earth. They worked alongside alien medical experts to understand the Kethvar genetic condition. The language barrier was difficult, but science was a universal language. Dr. Miller made breakthrough after breakthrough. Captain, I think we can help them. It will take time, maybe years, but we can develop treatments that will save their species. But not. Everyone was happy about this development. On Earth, some people were angry that humanity was helping the aliens who had tried to destroy them. General Pete Collins argued with Admiral Blake over the communication channel. Admiral, these aliens killed thousands of our people. Why should we help them? Because it is the right thing to do, General, and because it might prevent future wars. What if they attack us again once they are healthy? Admiral Blake looked tired. General, that is a risk we have to take, but I think these aliens have learned something important about humanity. Meanwhile, on the alien ship, Jake Morrison was learning about Kethvar culture. Zaktar showed him, around their massive vessel, explaining how their society worked. We have always believed that efficiency and perfection were the highest goals, Zaktar explained. Every ship built exactly the same way, every soldier trained in exactly the same manner. Every problem solved with the same logical methods, Thakor said. Sounds very organized, Jake said. Yes, but also very limited. When we encountered humans, nothing worked the way it was supposed to. Your tactics made no sense. Your strategies defied logic. Your willingness to sacrifice yourselves was completely irrational. They walked past a room where human and alien doctors were working together. But those irrational actions saved your species and might save ours too. Jake nodded. Commander, humans have a saying, diversity is strength. We are strong not because we are all the same, but because we are all different. I am beginning to understand this concept. Dr. Miller called them over to her workstation. Captain Commander, I have some preliminary results. The treatment is definitely possible. We can create genetic therapies that will give the Kethvar immune systems more variety. How long will it take? Zaktar asked. For the first treatments, maybe 6 months. For a complete solution, probably 5 years. Zaktar looked hopeful. for the first time since Jake had met him. "Doctor, you are offering my people a future we thought was impossible." "We are offering each other a future," Dr. Miller corrected. "This cooperation will advance both human and HFY medical science. We will both be stronger." Jake Morrison looked around the medical bay at humans and aliens working together. A few hours ago, these species had been trying to kill each other. Now they were trying to save each other. "Commander," Jake said, "I think this is the beginning of something completely new." "What do you mean, Captain?" "I mean that maybe the galaxy does not have to be about conquest and war. Maybe it can be about cooperation and healing." Zaktar considered this. "Captain Morrison, if your species can help mine survive, then perhaps we can help other species in return. There are many worlds that need healing after our conquests." "Now you are thinking like a human," Jake smiled. The first alien-human medical cooperation in galactic history was just beginning. 6 months later, the universe had changed in ways nobody could have predicted. The first HFY human medical station floated in space between Earth and the alien fleet. Inside the station, Dr. Sarah Miller worked alongside alien scientists to create the first genetic treatments. "The initial results are very promising," Dr. Miller told Jake Morrison as he visited the station. "We have successfully treated 50 HFY patients. Their immune systems are showing much more variety and strength." Jake looked through the window at the space around them. Human ships and alien ships flew together in mixed formations. It still looked strange to him, but it was becoming normal. "Any problems with the treatments?" "A few minor side effects, but nothing serious. The most interesting thing is that the treated HFY are starting to think differently." "How so?" Dr. Miller pulled up some test results on her computer. "The HFY with more genetic diversity are becoming more creative. They are asking questions they never asked before. They are finding new solutions to old problems." Commander Zaktar entered the medical bay. Over the past 6 months, he had become much healthier. His skin had better color, and he moved with more energy. But Jake noticed that he also seemed more curious about everything. "Captain Morrison, I have news from the HFY Council. They have made a decision about our future." "Good news or bad news?" "Good news, I believe. The Council has voted to end all conquest operations. We will focus our efforts on healing the worlds we have damaged and helping other species." Jake felt relief. There had always been worry that the HFY might return to their old ways once they were healthy again. "What changed their minds?" Zaktar smiled, something Jake had never seen an alien do before the treatments began. "The council members who received the genetic treatments started questioning our old ways. They began to see conquest as inefficient and wasteful." "And the council, members who have not been treated yet? They are struggling to understand the new thinking, but they cannot argue with the results. Our treated people are healthier, more creative, and finding better solutions to problems." Dr. Miller looked up from her work. "Commander, we are ready to begin treating larger groups. We can probably handle 1,000 patients per month now." "Excellent. But there is something else I need to discuss with both of you." Zaktar activated a communication screen. "We have been contacted by other species. Word has spread about our cooperation with humans." The screen showed several different alien faces. Some looked like giant insects. Others were covered in fur. One looked like a living crystal formation. These are representatives from species that the HFY conquered in the past. They want to know if humans can help them too. Jake was surprised. "Help them how?" A voice came from the screen. It belonged to one of the insect-like aliens. "Captain Morrison, our worlds were damaged by HFY weapons. Our people were enslaved. Our technology was taken. But we have heard that humans know how to rebuild and heal." Another voice joined in. "Humans fought the HFY with courage when surrender seemed logical. Can you teach us to be brave like that?" A third voice spoke. "Our species has forgotten how to be independent. The HFY controlled everything for so long. Can humans help us learn to govern ourselves again? Jake looked at Zach Tarr and Dr. Miller. This is bigger than just medical treatment. Much bigger. Zach Tarr agreed. Captain, your species has started something that could change the entire galaxy. Over the next few weeks, human ships began visiting the worlds that had been conquered by the HFY. What they found was heartbreaking. Beautiful. Planets had been strip-mined for resources. Proud species had been reduced to slave labor. Advanced civilizations had been forced to forget their own cultures. But humans brought something these worlds had not seen in centuries: hope. Captain Rachel Stone, who had survived her suicide mission thanks to a last-second ejection from her ship, led the first reconstruction team to the planet Velthera. The world had once been covered in crystal forests, but the HFY had harvested most of the crystals for their technology. "Do not worry," Rachel told the native Veltherans. "Humans have experience rebuilding after wars. We will help you grow new forests." The Veltherans were doubtful. "Captain Stone, our crystal forests took thousands of years to grow. How can they be restored in our lifetimes?" Rachel smiled. "Because humans are really good at doing impossible things. We will find a way." And they did. Human botanists worked with Veltheran scientists to develop new growing techniques. Within months, baby crystal trees were sprouting across the planet. The world of Kepharon, human engineers helped the native species rebuild their cities. The Kepharons had been forced to live in simple camps, while the HFY used their beautiful cities as military bases. "We do not understand human building methods," the Kepharon leader told the human construction team. "Your techniques seem inefficient." "Maybe," replied the lead engineer, Tom Bradley, "but our buildings survive earthquakes, storms, and even wars. Sometimes inefficient is better than perfect." Meanwhile, on Earth, Admiral Blake was dealing with a new problem. Too many species wanted human help. "Admiral," her aide reported, "we have requests for assistance from 47 different worlds. They want everything from medical aid to engineering help to military training." "How many ships and people do we have available?" "Not nearly enough. We would need to expand our space fleet by a factor of 10. Admiral Blake thought for a moment. "Then that is what we will do. Contact the shipyards. Tell them we need to build more ships than humanity has ever built before." "Admiral, the cost will be enormous. The cost of not helping will be worse. These species are counting on us." Dr. Marcus Wright joined the conversation. "Admiral, I have been thinking about this problem. Maybe we do not need to do everything ourselves." "Explain." "We teach the species we help to help other species. The Veltharans learn crystal growing from us. Then they teach it to other worlds that need it. The Kepharans learn construction from us. Then they help rebuild other planets." Admiral Blake nodded slowly. "A network of cooperation instead of dependence." "Exactly. Humans start the process, but every species contributes their own knowledge and skills." Commander Zaktar, who had been listening to the conversation, spoke up. "Admiral Wright, this is a brilliant concept. Instead of one species controlling others, all species help each other." "It is what we call paying it forward," Dr. Wright explained. "You help someone, and instead of paying you back, they help someone else." Jake Morrison joined the conversation from his ship. "Admiral, I think we have accidentally started something that could change the galaxy forever." "How so, Captain?" "We showed the galaxy that the strong do not have to conquer the weak, that different species can work together, that healing is more powerful than destroying." Admiral Blake looked at the reports coming in from dozens of worlds. Everywhere humans went, they left things better than they found them, and the species they helped were starting to help others. "Captain Morrison, I think you are right. We have started something that will spread across the entire galaxy." "The question is," Jake said, "are we ready for that responsibility?" 1 year after the First Contact War, Jake Morrison stood on the observation deck of the new Unity station. The massive structure floated in neutral space, built by engineers from 12 different species working together. Through the huge windows, he could see ships from dozens of worlds docking and departing. "Hard to believe it has only been a year," said Lisa Parker, joining him at the window. She now wore the uniform of the Galactic Cooperation Council, a new organization that had grown out of the Human Kethvar Alliance. "Sometimes I think we are dreaming," Jake replied. "A year ago we were fighting for our lives. Now we are building a new kind of galaxy." Dr. Sarah Miller approached them with a data pad in her hands. "Captain, I have the latest reports from the medical missions. We have now successfully treated over 50,000 Kethvar individuals. The genetic diversity program is working beyond our wildest hopes. Any side effects we did not expect? Actually, yes. The treated Kethvar are becoming poets, artists, and musicians. Their culture is becoming much more creative and diverse. Commander Zakhtar wrote a song last week." Jake laughed. "A Kethvar song? I would like to hear that." "It is quite beautiful, actually. It is about the day his people learned that strength comes from working together, not from conquering others." Tony Rodriguez walked up to join the group. He was now chief engineer for Unity Station. "Captain, we have a new problem. A good problem, but still a problem." "What now, Tony?" "We have more species wanting to join the Cooperation Council than we have space for. The station is full, and we have requests from over 100 different worlds." Lisa checked her data pad. "Tony is right. The Veltherans have finished restoring their crystal forests, and now they want to help other species with environmental restoration. The Kepherans have rebuilt their cities and want to teach construction techniques to damaged worlds. And the Zephyrians have developed new farming methods that could feed the entire galaxy," Dr. Miller added. Jake nodded. "So the network is spreading exactly like Dr. Wright predicted." "Faster than he predicted," Tony corrected. "Every species we help is now helping 2 or 3 other species. It is growing exponentially." Amy Stevens joined them from the Communications Center. "Captain, I have Admiral Blake on the priority channel. She says it is important." The group gathered around a communication screen as Admiral Blake's face appeared. Behind her, the Earth Command Center looked much busier than before. "Captain Morrison, we have a situation. Not a bad situation, but a big one." "What kind of situation, Admiral?" "We have been contacted by the Galactic Empire." Everyone went quiet. The Galactic Empire was legendary. They ruled thousands of worlds in the center of the galaxy and had never bothered with the outer rim where humans lived. "What do they want?" Jake asked. "They want to meet with representatives of the Cooperation Council. It seems they have been watching what we have been doing out here." Lisa leaned forward. "Are they threatening us?" "No, that is the strange part. They want to learn from us. Apparently, they are having problems with rebellions and unrest throughout their empire. Their traditional methods of control are not working anymore." Dr. Miller looked surprised. "They want to learn cooperation techniques from us?" "That is what their ambassador said. They want to know how we turned enemies into allies so quickly." Jake thought about this for a moment. "Admiral, the Galactic Empire has been ruling through force for thousands of years. Do you think they are serious about change?" "I do not know, Captain, but their ambassador said something interesting. She said that news of our cooperation network has spread throughout their empire. Their subject species are asking why the empire cannot work with them the way humans work with other species." Commander Zakhtar appeared on another screen from his ship. "Admiral Blake, Captain Morrison, I have been monitoring Empire communications. There is definitely unrest in their territory. Several worlds have declared independence and are requesting to join our Cooperation Council." "That could be a problem," Tony said. "The Empire might see us as a threat." "Or an opportunity," Jake replied. "Amy, patch me through to this Empire ambassador." A new face appeared on the screen. The alien was tall and elegant with silver skin and 4 arms. She wore robes that seemed to be made of light itself. "I am Ambassador Qualthus of the Galactic Empire. You must be Captain Morrison. Your reputation has spread even to the Empire's capital." Ambassador, Admiral Blake tells me you want to learn about cooperation. Captain, the Empire has ruled for 5,000 years through strength and control, but in the past year we have watched your small alliance accomplish more than we thought possible. What specifically interests you? How do you get conquered enemies to become loyal allies? How do you motivate species to help each other instead of competing? How do you maintain order without using force? Jake exchanged glances with his team. Ambassador, the answer is simple, but it requires giving up something the Empire values. What is that? Control. True cooperation means sharing power, not hoarding it. It means trusting others to make good decisions. It means accepting that different species have different ideas about how to solve problems. Ambassador Qualthis was quiet for a long moment. Captain, what you describe would require the Empire to fundamentally change everything about how we operate. Yes, it would. The question is whether the Empire is willing to change, or whether it prefers to keep fighting rebellions until it collapses. May I be frank, Captain? Please. Many in the Empire believe you humans are naive idealists who will soon discover that cooperation is impossible on a galactic scale. Jake smiled. Ambassador, people have been underestimating humans for a year now. It has not worked out well for them. And what do you believe will happen? I believe that cooperation is like a virus, but a good virus. Once it starts spreading, it is very hard to stop. Your subject species have seen that there is another way to live. They will not go back to being controlled by force. Commander Zaktar spoke up. Ambassador Qualthis, my people thought cooperation was impossible too. We had conquered 47 species through superior technology and force. We believed that was the only way to survive. And now? Now we are healthier, happier, and more secure than we have ever been. We have more allies than we ever had subjects. Our former enemies now defend us as fiercely as we once attacked them. Ambassador Qualthis considered this. The Empire Council is willing to send a delegation to observe your operations. Perhaps we can learn something useful. You are welcome to visit, Jake said. But Ambassador, understand one thing. If the Empire tries to subvert or control our network, it will fail. Our strength comes from the fact that no one controls it. Every species participates voluntarily. I understand, Captain. Perhaps that is exactly what we need to learn. After the communication ended, Jake looked around at his team. Well, people, it looks like our little cooperation experiment is about to get much bigger. Lisa shook her head in amazement. Jake, do you realize what just happened? The most powerful empire in the galaxy just asked us for help. I realize it. The question is, can we help them without losing what makes our network special? Dr. Miller smiled. Captain, if there is one thing I have learned about humans this year, it is that we are very good at doing impossible things. Tony laughed. Dr. Miller is right. Besides, what is the worst that could happen? Jake looked out at the ships, from dozens of species working together in space. Tony, please do not ask that question. The universe might decide to show us. But as he watched Kethvar engineers working alongside human technicians and Veltharan artists collaborating with Zephyrian musicians, Jake Morrison felt something he had never expected to feel after humanity's brush with extinction. He felt hopeful about the future. The galaxy was about to discover that when humans said something was impossible, they usually meant it was going to be difficult, but they were going to do it anyway. And this time, they were not doing it alone.